Man, I gotta tell you, what a sad and also very happy day. It's one of those, it's a sad and it's a very happy day at the same time. There's some sad news regarding Savannah Guthrie's mom, and then there's some really happy news regarding, other people who aren't missing right now and potentially abducted. Maybe, I don't want to spread any rumors because I don't want to get sued, but maybe even some, wait, what happened to my, why is my screen? Yeah, there you go. But maybe even some of these people that are involved are related to her, which is really kind of shocking stuff. We're going to bring you all that here in just a minute, but I will say this. Let me tell you this. There are new leads in the Savannah Guthrie case. It's happened yesterday, right after the show ended, really. We started getting information about a potential ransom. Then Ashley Banfield, I don't remember Ashley Banfield, but she has a podcast or something. I mean, everybody, it seems like everybody has that. I'm like, she has a podcast or something. Like, I don't have two of my own. But, which, by the way, if you don't listen to the other one, the47daily.com every single morning for the latest news coming out of the White House in Washington, D.C. and Donald Trump's administration, so that you can be up on all the stuff that you need to be, up on. But anyway, that happens every single day. Now, there is, like I said, news coming out that we also saw there was a like I said, potential link between Ashley Banfield's reporting and some of her family members, which we'll get to. But like I said, we're going to get you the latest and greatest. We're going to get you everything that you need to know. We're going to bring you up to speed. And of course, President Donald Trump was asked about this, and he did mention something about it in his press briefing yesterday, right after he opened the government back up. President Donald Trump, he opened up the government. Oh, and he also shut down Caitlin Collins. That was the thing about Donald Trump. Donald Trump opens up the government. He signs the legislation. He signs the appropriations bills. The government's back open. Everybody can rejoice, even though there's a bunch of pork in there and we didn't get the SAVE Act attached, which I'll be honest with you, Republicans got played. But I would have expected nothing less from Republicans other than for them to get the wool pulled over their eyes by their own people. By the way, I'd like to point that out. The Republicans got played, and they got played by their own people, by the Republicans. John Thune literally, within 12 hours, lied to congressional Republicans and then backtracked immediately so he wouldn't have to bring the SAVE Act up for a vote. Anyway, we've got all of that. Oh, and Scott Bessent, I got to be honest, this guy may be, I used to say that he was the greatest Treasury Secretary since Alexander Hamilton. And that is based solely on the musical, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, first of all, how many Treasury Secretaries can I name? Okay. How many Treasury Secretaries can I name? Alexander Hamilton. That's an easy one because he's the first one. And they made a musical about him. And there's people sing the songs and it's like, Alexander Hamilton. Just you wait. You all know the songs, right? So we know, he got shot by Aaron Burr, spoiler alert. So there's that. So you know that one. Scott Bessent, right, is the latest Treasury Secretary. Then of course there was Steve Mnuchin. I remember Steve Mnuchin. I'm trying to think. I don't know anyone. I don't really recall any. Janet Yellen. She was horrible. Janet Yellen was awful. Gosh, I would really have to go. Wasn't Geithner one? I think Geithner was one. But that's way better. But otherwise, other than that, I have no idea. So I got Janet Yellen, Steve Mnuchin, Alexander Hamilton, and Scott Bessent. And Scott Bessent, I think, is now the greatest one of all. Probably even greater than Alexander Hamilton. Probably, because you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm a little ticked at Alexander Hamilton because he's the one that was the whole whiskey rebellion, the tax on whiskey and bourbon. That was all him. And then when people refused to pay it, he and George Washington, they sent in troops again. That's a whole other story for another day. Scott Bessent, as far as I know, has never taxed any whiskey or bourbon more than it is already. And he hasn't sent any troops against any American citizens again that I know of. But anyway, this guy, he's in Congress and he is just handing it to the Democrats. And the Democrats hate him so much. They are just apoplectic. They're losing their minds. They're screaming. They're acting like children. And Scott Bessent is giving them their comeuppance. And there's nothing better than that. Anyway, we should probably start off today. Oh, you know what? I did want to start off with something cool. All right, let's start off with Savannah Guthrie, and then I'll show you something cool. Do you guys want to see something cool first? What do? This is one of those times where I should probably start with the Savannah Guthrie story because it's in the title, it's in the thumbnail. And sometimes what happens is, this happens a lot, I'll get off on a tangent because something happens that excites me right before the show. And I totally forgot what I've been teasing because, let's be honest, the thumbnail and the title, we came up with that a while ago. And then people will write me later and say, I clicked on your podcast because you said you were going to talk about this and you rambled on about something else for like 20 minutes. And I go, well, first of all, that increases my time spent listening, which is great. But second of all, I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be better. So I'll start with the Savannah Guthrie news, and then I'll show you the really cool thing that I wanted to show you. And like I said yesterday, right after the program ended, we had a massive breaking update on the Savannah Guthrie's missing mama story.
Fox News alert, we have a potential new lead in the Nancy Guthrie mystery. The FBI has been made aware of a possible ransom note that's allegedly demanding millions for the return of Savannah Guthrie's missing mother.
The local authorities notified the FBI of it, and we are working with them in any manner they choose. But remember, they're the lead right now, and we have to respect that, but we are there to help them in any way we can, on ransom notes or otherwise.
Copies of the note were sent to a local Arizona TV station and TMZ. TMZ says the note demands millions of dollars in Bitcoin for Nancy's return. The outlet reports, quote, there is a deadline connected to the alleged ransom and an element of or else. Authorities haven't confirmed the note yet, but have revealed some disturbing details tonight. Police found blood inside Nancy Guthrie's house, leading from the entryway towards the driveway. Her cell phone, wallet, and Apple Watch were left inside the house. And the 84-year-old had a doorbell camera installed that went missing before the cops arrived on Sunday. We still have a lot more questions than answers, but President Trump says he's committed to finding out what happened.
I think it's terrible.
Would you commit to more federal agents like helping out on the search?
Sure, I would. I'm going to call her later on. I think it's a terrible thing. I always got along very good with Savannah. Very unusual situation, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, Donald Trump said, I'll commit. I always got along really great with Savannah. I got along great with Savannah Guthrie. I'm happy to help. We'll commit some troops. It's very weird. It's very bizarre what's going on. And that is something that he said in the Oval Office yesterday, right after signing the bill, while he was taking questions. A couple of other odd things that popped up. First of all, I don't know if you saw this reward poster, but my wife and I were talking about this. Look at this. Reward. Okay. Reward. Up to $2,500. Now, there was a time when $2,500 seemed like a substantial amount of money. There was a time when $2,500 seemed like, a decent amount of money to get people to move or to share any information they needed. But I'm going to be honest with you. When's the last time you saw a reward notice from anywhere, from Crime Stoppers or anyone, for less than like 10 grand? And also, again, not that Savannah Guthrie's made of money, but I happen to know she's very wealthy. I would have thought maybe 25 grand, something like that, something to move the needle. What was I watching the other day? I was watching this show on one of those streaming channels. I forget which one, the woke one. And they had a $25,000 reward for information leading up to the capture of the 2,500. I don't know. That just seemed really weird to me that it was $2,500. And then this story came out that Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law was the last person to see her before she disappeared, and maybe is involved, according to Ashley Banfield. Now, there's no proof of that, and I don't want to get sued, but Ashley Banfield is reporting, they took the car, and the brother-in-law is this dude, and that's what's going on. So here it is. Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law was the last person to see Mom Nancy before she vanished. Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law was the last person to see the 84-year-old before she disappeared. Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, I assume he's Italian, was the last person who saw Nancy Guthrie before she vanished. Cioni, who is married to Savannah's sister Annie, dropped Nancy back at her Tucson, Arizona home on Saturday evening after the 84-year-old had dinner with the couple. He ensured she made it safely inside the house before leaving. So that's what we know. That's what we know, that Annie is Savannah's older sister, I believe, and her husband, Tommaso Cioni, was the last person to see her alive. He dropped her off. He made sure she got in. Here's a picture of, it looks like Savannah and Annie and Nancy. Savannah being the really tall. I had no idea Savannah Guthrie was this tall, or maybe her and her sister and her mom were just super short. And then here's a photo of her with Chione. What's his name? Anthony? Hold on. Where? Chione. What did I say his name was? Tommaso, pardon me. Here's Tommaso Chione. And then here's Tommaso Chione in the car looking distraught after, I guess, they got the news that the mother was missing. So that's it. Now, there was also a report. I haven't seen any kind of substantiation of this report, though, that they seized or impounded the sister's car or searched the sister's car because, maybe there's something there. Maybe they found blood on the scene. Maybe they were looking for DNA or fibers or whatnot. But interestingly enough, it seems like if they have a lead on Tommaso Chione, if they have a lead on Annie Guthrie or whatever, if they already know who is behind it, or if they already have a prime suspect, then that would really explain the $2,500 reward. Because why would you dish out a bunch of money to somebody when you already have somebody in your crosshairs? When you already know who your potential target is. My wife said it reminds her of the Iowa murder. Remember when the Iowa Sheriff's Department, they were like, we don't know anything. We don't know anything. We don't have anybody. We don't have any. And then bam, they were like, we got him. And everyone was like, wait, we thought you didn't have anything. He's like, no, we were just saying that because we didn't want to spook anybody. It could be something very similar to that, or it could just be that they don't know who the hell did it and they don't know where this woman is. But it's very, very interesting. A lot of people have been looking into this boyfriend now. I see all these clips, or I think it's husband, but they're pulling up all these photos about all of his international ties and who he's connected with and that kind of thing. I don't know. I'm just saying. Oh, here's some images of the actual, I assume this is the crime scene where they found some blood. I'm not sure where these photos came from. They've released the crime scene photos. News Nation found the blood on the stoop. They were blood droplets, not spatter. The ring cam apparently is gone. That's what they said too. The ring camera's been gone. So again, we don't really know. Here is looking.
Yesterday we got a call to the Guthrie residence. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, was missing. We expended a lot of resources for a missing person. We saw some things at the home that were concerning to us. We believe now, after we processed that crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime scene.
Yeah.
That we do in fact have a crime.
Yeah, and that's basically where we are right now. But President Donald Trump says he will offer any and all resources to help. He's committed to help Savannah Guthrie because he likes Savannah Guthrie. He said she's always been nice. They've already had a great relationship.
On Savannah Guthrie's mom missing in Arizona.
I think it's terrible.
Would you commit to more federal agents like helping out on the
Sure, I would. I'm going to call her later on. I think it's a terrible thing. I always got along very good with Savannah. Very unusual situation, but we're going to find out.
Yeah. President Donald Trump saying, I always got along very good with Savannah Guthrie. You know who he doesn't get along good with? Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Collins was also in this press briefing yesterday, right after they signed the appropriations bill into law to reopen the government, so that the government would no longer be shut down. Now that everybody can go back to work and we don't have to worry about any of that crap. Now that the appropriations are finally signed, Donald Trump was in there. He had Mike Johnson. Was so excited. Mike Johnson was. What do I have the clip of Mike Johnson in his hat? Mike Johnson got a little hat from, I don't know how many, every time Donald Trump brings people to the White House, into the Oval Office, he always has red hats. Some of them say Trump was right about everything. Some of them say, make America great again. Some of them say Trump 2024. This one said America is back, and he was handing them out to everybody who was there. And Mike Johnson, where's the Mike Johnson? Mike Johnson got to speak, and he was crumbling. Here it is. He was crumbling up his hat. We don't know if he was nervous or if he was angry or what it was, but everybody was like, what is Mike Johnson doing to that poor hat?
Well, this is a big thing, Mr. President. Thank you for your leadership and helping us steward this through. For a long time, we wanted to get back to regular order in the appropriations process. And you're standing up here with the best appropriators in the business and have served in many years. And we forced the muscle memory back. We're getting back to that regular order process. 12 separate appropriations bills, We've gotten them to your desk, and this is a big thing. It seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing. And we're spending less money year over year, and with all the innovations and things that you said there, this is good for the country. And America is back. The hat is appropriate. It's the right slogan.
Yeah, that is so awkward. It's so awkward to see Mike Johnson pretty much anywhere. But anyway, so he was there. Mike Johnson was there. Everyone was there. And then Donald Trump took some questions. And Caitlin Collins wanted to ask him not about the appropriations bill, not about the economy, not about America coming roaring back, not about the hats. She wanted to ask him about the Epstein files. And Donald Trump didn't want to talk about that.
I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say?
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile on your face.
I'm asking you about survivors.
You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth. And you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
Man, you're a very dishonest organization. They, meaning CNN, should be ashamed of you. That's some harsh words from President Donald Trump, but also, you know, typical fare from I don't think anybody's looking at that going, "Oh my God, I can't believe Donald Trump said that to Caitlin Collins." It's exactly the kind of thing. That he would say to Caitlin Collins. So hopefully she doesn't need Donald Trump's help to find any of her relatives, because I don't think that Donald Trump would be as willing to help her as he is Savannah Guthrie's. But like I said, I think Caitlin Collins' relatives are all accounted for. There is another thing. I mean, there's so much going on with this appropriations bill that we could talk about. It is good and bad. And I think really the worst part is that it seems like it came at President Donald Trump's request to not attach the SAVE Act, which President Donald Trump is a huge proponent of. In fact, President Donald Trump was talking about, he was asked about the SAVE Act. And he said, in fact, you know what, I'm just going to have no trouble with my download, so I'm just going to go here and play it for you. But Donald Trump was asked about the SAVE Act a couple of times. And he said, it's so important. It's so important. It's the key to protecting our democracy. That's why he had Rick Scott and Mike Lee go back and rename it the Save America Act, because it's that crucial. If we really want to save America, we need the Save America Act. We need to solidify and sanctify our elections. We need to make sure that we have voter ID for elections so that only American citizens are voting in these elections and nobody can steal them. So nobody can take your vote away or disenfranchise you. And that is one of the reasons why we have so many problems in this country. And he was asked about that. And he said, here he is talking about some of the fraud and abuse in the election system and why the SAVE Act is so important. Let me hit the right button here.
I want to see elections be honest. And if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, you know, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about how horribly they run their elections, what a disgrace it is, I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way, we had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Pennsylvania, take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta, look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections, and the federal government should not allow that. The federal government should get involved. These are agents of the federal government to count the votes. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take over.
But the Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President. That's what the Constitution
you know what?
says.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
I mean, and that was President Donald Trump replying to comments he made about the GOP taking over elections, or the GOP, the federal government taking over elections, something like that. And basically what President Donald Trump is saying is, just like with everything else, if the states, yes, they're supposed to do it, but if they can't do it properly, then the federal government has to step in. It's similar in scope to what's going on with law enforcement. Yes, the states are supposed to enforce their own laws. They're supposed to enforce federal law, but if they can't, then the federal government has to step in for the good of the people. And he's saying the same thing with the good of the vote. But while that's what he's saying, the Congress was encouraged to pass this funding bill so that the government would remain open, so that we would have the budget appropriated, and so that there would not be another drop in the national in the GDP or in the economic boon that Donald Trump says we are in the throes of, and it wouldn't affect the Republicans' chances in the midterm election. Here's what Donald Trump's torn between two masters. He wants to win the midterms bad. He wants to win the midterms bad because he doesn't want his agenda to be stymied by the Democrats getting control of the House of Representatives and impeaching him. Donald Trump does not want that to happen. So he's trying to do everything he can to make sure that Republicans retain control of the House of Representatives, that Republicans win. And what does that mean? It means making sure the economy is strong. Why? It's the economy, stupid. That's why people vote. Typically, it's why they vote for president, and there's not a president on the ballot this year. But Donald Trump knows if the economy is strong, it's less likely that the House of Representatives changes hands, because you don't want to change power when you feel like you're prosperous. So Donald Trump is trying to protect the economy, number one, because he knows that'll protect the elections, which will protect the final 2 years of his presidency. Very, very important. Crucial to not just him, but to the rest of us here in the United States of America. We need Donald Trump to be able to govern unfettered by the ridiculousness that is the Democrats in the House of Representatives. So that's the first thing that he's battling. He wants to make sure that he wins the midterms, but he also knows that not only does he have to keep the economy strong, but he's got to protect the sanctity of our elections with the SAVE Act. So he's like, oh, we need the economy to be strong. Oh, we also need the SAVE Act. The government's going to shut down, which will make the economy weaker, and people will be out of work, and then they're going to blame me, and that's going to be 2 prolonged shutdowns. So they're going to say the Republicans can't get anything done, or we're going to lose the House, and I'm going to be screwed for 2 years. I don't want that. Yes, we need the SAVE Act, but if we don't pass the SAVE Act right now, it doesn't really negatively affect the economy, and we've still got time to maybe push it through later. So shelf that. Put that to the side. Call on all the Congress people. Tell them not to demand the SAVE Act, not to attach the SAVE Act. Call Thune. Get Thune in here. Let's make a deal. John Thune comes in. He talks to Tim Burchett. He talks to Anna Paulina Luna. He says, guys, I promise I'll bring up the SAVE Act. And they go, that's not good enough. What about the filibuster? He goes, fine, we'll get rid of the zombie filibuster and we'll make it a standing filibuster. And that way, if you just send the appropriations bill to us, don't attach the SAVE Act mandate to it, we'll pass the appropriations bill, the government will stay open, and then we'll bring the SAVE Act to the floor without the zombie filibuster. It'll be a standing filibuster and everybody will be happy. And Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna go, okay. And what does John Thune do after the vote? He starts to talk about how, well, that may not actually be a viable plan. Well, we may not actually be able to pass this with the standing filibuster. That just may not be a compromise we're willing to make. So right after this passes, right before Donald Trump signed it, right after he sold Anna Paulina Luna and Tim Burchett and the rest of the Republicans in Congress a bill of goods, here's John Thune walking it all back.
Let's listen here.
Filibuster to try to outlast the Democratic minority under current rules. Do you have any expectation that you can succeed with that, given the enormous difficulty of doing that? In fact, the previous majority has not been able to.
Right. Well, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions, there are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate. And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it and how they want to proceed. As I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So we will have those discussions, but that's obviously ties the floor up for an indefinite amount of time with not only unlimited debate, but also unlimited amendments.
All right, rather we had the Senate Majority Leader.
Yeah, so there you go. So John Thune is saying, hey, we'll get rid of the zombie filibuster, we'll do a standing filibuster, and we'll bring the SAVE Act to the floor. go sign this bill, go vote yes unanimously so we can get this appropriations bill to President Donald Trump's desk so we can keep the government open. And all the Republicans did it. Every single one of them. They got every vote they needed. They passed it and bam, it got to the president's desk and President Donald Trump signed it. And Mike Johnson was crumpling the hat. We just talked about it. And John Thune, within minutes, says, that standing filibuster, come to think of it, that's not probably going to happen. Republicans got played by their own Senate Majority Leader. I just ask you, what is the freaking point? What is the freaking point? Tim Burchett said something which we've been saying forever, and he's saying Republicans basically suck. And the reason is because we have all the power and we act like we have none of it. We have all the power and we act like we are powerless. We are the Goliath. In poker, and I'm going to use a poker metaphor because I love poker. In poker, when you have the what do you call it? When you have the big stack, when you have the most chips, you're supposed to bully people around. You're supposed to bet big even if you have bad cards. You're supposed to just bankrupt people. If you see somebody with 10 chips left, you bet 10 chips every time because they're going to fold because they don't want to lose those 10 chips. That's what we should be doing. We've got the big stack. We got the House, we got the Senate, we got the presidency, we got the Supreme Court. We should be betting big and bullying, but we're not. And Tim Burchett says, that's just stupid of us.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Big vote on the floor. Appropriations bill. Total cost $1.2 trillion, whatever the heck that is. It's a bunch of appropriations. Department of Defense. Here we go again. It's $8.4 billion more than what Trump asked. Department of Labor, Human Health Services, $221 billion. These things just keep going. Exceeds the president's request and includes funding for programs President Trump zeroed out. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff in here that just there's earmarks for transgender surgeries on minors, abortion, syringe exchange programs, intersex and LGBTQ advocacy programs. Like if you want to sponsor that stuff, pay for it out of your own dadgum pocket. We're $40 trillion in debt. We don't need to be mutilating kids on the altar of political correctness and this woke-utopia they're trying to create. It's a sad day when we do that, and that's what we use for negotiating. We got to start negotiating from power. We need to start following our president's advice on a lot of this stuff and negotiating. You don't negotiate from weakness. Trump will tell you, you negotiate from power, and that's why he wins. Anyway, maybe we'll catch on to this thing before long. Not as bad as it was. It's a lot less than it has been the last 2 times, but still too much. Thank y'all for sending me here.
He keeps saying thank you for sending me here, but he just looks so miserable, doesn't he? I love that about Tim Burchett. He always says thank y'all for sending me here, even though he just seems miserable every time he walks out of that building. He's like, I can't believe it. All this dadgum money for these dadgum transgenders and these dadgum things and oh man, what are we? It's so we're weak. We negotiate from weakness. We should be powerful. We are powerful. Donald Trump, this and that and whatever. He just looks miserable. Then he goes, but thank you all for sending me here. It's really, that's why everybody loves Tim Burchett. That's why literally everybody loves Tim Burchett. The only people that don't love Tim Burchett hate America. Carl Higbie, my good buddy from Newsmax TV, he loves Tim Burchett. He even said he loves Tim Burchett so much that he dressed like Tim Burchett and told Tim Burchett, I love you.
Tennessee Congressman, member of the House Oversight Committee, Tim Burchett. Sir, I know you can't see the refeed, but I put my Carhartt jacket on because I love you, sir.
I heard, and that my love for you is unconditional. In Tennessee, it's possibly unconstitutional.
Yeah, that's very. See, those are people. This is why Newsmax is great. This is why Tim Burchett, these are people. This is why Newsmax is growing and growing and growing and becoming more and more popular. This is why Tim Burchett is more and more popular. This is why he's now on the Doge committee. This is why people know, like, and respect him. This is why his colleagues hate him, because these are real people talking about real things. acting in a way that real people act, concerned about things that real people are concerned about, and telling the truth. How many Congress people do you know that walk out of the building every day and tell you exactly what happened, why it happened, and why it's bad for America? How many people? He walks out and he goes, "Dadgummit, let me read you all the crap that we just did." And he puts it out there every day. He does it. Carl Higbee, same thing. Every single day he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put on a Carhartt jacket and tell this man I love him, because I do. George Slopadopoulos doesn't tell anyone he loves them. Why? Because he only loves himself. He hates everybody else. Real people doing real things in the media and in the government. And that's exactly what we need. That's exactly why these people are so effective and so popular. And that's, like I said, we need more and more. That's why Scott Bessent is the best Treasury Secretary in the world. Before we get to that, though, you guys want to see something cool? I want to share with you. This is something very cool. If you're not paying attention, pay attention for just a minute, because I got a text message a while back. Let me see if I can find it. I got a text message a while back from a woman named Jen. Okay. And let me just show you. So Jen wrote this to my wife, because so we have a business line. It's tied to my phone, whatever. My wife is on all the press releases. So she wrote to my wife, but it came to my phone and it says, "Hi, Pamela, Jen with Lee Greenwood. We have a custom guitar with Mark's name on it. We've been trying to get to him. What's the best address to mail to?" And of course, I immediately think this is a scam, right? This is because I'm so cynical. I don't trust anybody. If you're not on my phone, I'm not answering you. I get a dozen spam calls a day. I get text messages, those random text messages that are like, "Hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? I'm cooking pork. You want to come over?" And then you're supposed to write back, "Who's this?" And then they like rope you into some kind of scam. I get those all the time. So I immediately go, "Hi, Pamela, Jen with Lee Greenwood. We have a custom guitar with Mark's name on it. We've been trying to get to him. What's the best address to mail to?" And I think to myself, it's weird because they used my wife's name. So I waited and I just kind of ignored it. And then I got this photo. Look, I got this photo of a guitar in a little studio, and it has, well, let me turn around. It has, well, that didn't work. It has my name engraved in the stock there, in the neck, in the fretboard. And I go, wait a minute. Then of course I think to myself, is this AI? Right. So I sent it to a couple of my friends. I sent it to this girl I used to work with. And I go, "Hey, does this look like AI to you?" She goes, "That's what I was thinking," because we're both cynical. And I go, "Do you think this is real?" She goes, "I don't know." So I write her back as my wife. I go, "Hi, Jen. Thanks for reaching out. Can you provide me with more information? Is this something that Mark ordered?" And it turns out it was real. And it turns out it was real. So we sent my information, and look what happened yesterday. I took the dogs for a walk. We went around the block. We came back. The UPS truck was driving away. There was a huge box on my porch. And look, oh, I need to grab it. Look at this. Huh? Oh, oops. This was in the box. This is from Lee Greenwood. This is from Lee Greenwood. He had this guitar made. This is, by the way, he has his own. You can see on the head there. He has his own proud to be an American guitar, pearl inlay and all that kind of stuff. And he had this guitar made for me and a bunch of other people. And it's got my name, Mark K, right there in the fretboard. And it's just, I mean, it's really, and it came yesterday. It came right out of the box. Not like I had to tune it. Isn't that great? Look at how beautiful this is. I mean, I've got a lot of guitars. I've bought a lot of ukuleles. I don't have a single one with my name on it. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know you could get a custom guitar with it. Anyway, it came with a note too from his manager that said, "Mark, good luck on your race," because they know I'm running for Congress. "We had a guitar made for you. Wanted to make sure you get it. We manage Lee Greenwood and others. Appreciate all you do for conservatives. Let me know if we can help you in any way, shape, or form." And this, I'll be honest with you, I was a little shocked because, look, I know Lee Greenwood a little. I'm not going to say we're best, but the first time we met was, well, here, I'll show you. It was at the RNC in 2024. And Lee Greenwood came by the booth and we sat down and we talked for a while. I interviewed him. I've talked to him a couple times. I mean, once you meet Lee Greenwood once, then he starts popping up everywhere, right? He's all over the place. So I'd met him a couple times, but I guess he remembered me, or I made an impression or whatever else, because I now have my own customized Lee Greenwood, Proud to Be an American guitar. And I can't, the song's not in my key, so I can't, it's way higher. It's like, stand up next to you and defend her still today. Yeah, I'm not really good. That's his song. I'll let him sing it. But this is amazing. I mean, I'm like, and here's the thing. I can't sell it. Not that I ever would, but that's the best thing. You can't sell it. You can't put it on eBay. If somebody steals it, I'll be like, excuse me, sir, that is my guitar. So thank you to Lee. If Lee's out there listening, probably he's busy, but thanks to Lee Greenwood for... I wish I had something to sing. I wish I had a song to sing because I've got Lee Greenwood's guitar. Yeah, I'll come up with something later. But that made my day. I'll be honest with you. I was having kind of not a down day, but like I was frustrated with some technology things, and I was frustrated with a couple of things about the business side of life. And I was just like, my wife said, let's just end it, just be done with it for the day, and let's go walk the dogs. So we did. We went and we walked the dogs. And then lo and behold, I came back and this was on my front porch. Just brightened my day. So thank you, Lee. Thanks to Kurt, who's his manager as well. Thanks to Jen for texting my wife. And thanks for not being a scam. Really, that's really what I want to say. I want to say thank you for not, that's going to fall over. Hang on, I got to put it back on the stand. If I don't, hold on. I don't want it to fall. I'm running out of guitar stands. I'm going to need a bigger studio soon, just for all the knickknacks and the paddywhacks I'm getting. But no, really, I appreciate. And listen, this is all why I love the people that I get to meet, and this is all why I love the stuff that I get to do. I mean, I talk about this in my Authority launch program all the time. I mean, the people we get to meet. The RNC was great. There's Laura Trump that we got to hang out with her. I'm going the wrong way. Lee Greenwood. It was just a fantastic opportunity. Where's Lee? What is this? Oh, that's like my kids' homework. Anyway, yeah, here's who else did we? There was a whole bunch. Like, we're going to go through my photo album. Oh, there's Bianca de la Garza from Newsmax. She's fantastic. We also hung out with, there's Matt Boyle. Here's Bongino. This was Bongino before he left to go to the FBI. This is OG Bongino. What else do we have here? We've got all these, just everybody was there. It was such a fantastic experience, and we get a ton of those experiences, and we get it not because we have a podcast, but because we have Authority. And later, if you're interested to learn all about that, I'll tell you all about that later on. But that's, the relationships are everything, and that's why you get cool stuff like that. So maybe we'll do something with Liz. Somebody suggested yesterday, hey, can you get Lee to come to a fundraiser for you? Or hey, can you get Lee to come to Jacksonville and do something for the campaign? And I thought to myself, maybe not. But I will, all right, maybe we'll see. Maybe we could get Lee. If we could get Lee Greenwood to come to a campaign event, I feel like that would be an ace in the hole. I feel like if we could get Lee Greenwood, I would then sell tickets. I think we could do, I'm going to, you know what? That's a great idea. Who came up with that? Cody? That's a great idea. All right, perfect. So anyway, that was my big exciting news from yesterday. Here's my big exciting news from today. My big exciting news from today is that we have Scott Bessent appearing in front of Congress and showing the world once again just how childish and ignorant and obnoxious the Democrat Party is, while the Republicans are collectively cool. Maxine Waters, who we already know is crazy. Maxine Waters, probably one of the most annoying, least intelligent, most violent, and clearly one of the most ignorant people to ever serve in the Congress. If Jasmine Crockett weren't leaving to go lose her Senate seat or her Senate race in Texas, she would one day eventually end up to be Maxine Waters. Like Maxine Waters, or Jasmine Crockett times like 40 years or whatever is Maxine Waters. But Maxine Waters, she started to talk to Scott Bessent, and she started to misrepresent the facts. And Scott Bessent tried to explain to her that she was wrong about something, and she lost it.
Levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in
lumber
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a 5-year low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Let's just have the facts.
Reclaiming my time. Thank you.
Yeah, reclaiming my time. But that's not all. Later on, she asked him a question, and then when he started to answer it, she told him to shut up.
10 and 20 million immigrants.
Can you
look
shut
at the
up?
housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
General Labor's time has expired.
There used to be a time in Congress when, and here's the thing too, like, I'm over the whole gentle lady thing, right? Like, listen again, this is Maxine Waters. She tells the Secretary of the Treasury, this is not some rowdy witness. This is not some criminal. This is Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury. He's like one of the highest ranking officials in the U.S. government, and she's telling him to shut up?
10 and 20 million immigrants.
Can you
look
shut
at the
up?
housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
General Labor's time has expired.
And he says to her, can you maintain some level of dignity? I don't know. This is the problem I'm going to have when I get to Congress. When I get to Congress, there's rules. For example, you're supposed to refer to everybody as gentleman and gentlewoman or gentle lady. Is that what it is? The gentlewoman, the gentle lady? I don't think I can do that. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could look at Maxine Waters and say, the gentle lady from, where's she from? California? The gentle lady from California is an idiot. Like, I don't think I could say that. I don't think I could refer to her as a gentle lady. Whack job, I could do that. I could be like the whack job from California, but see, that would be a breach of decorum. However, telling the Secretary of the Treasury to shut up apparently is not. She wasn't the only one. Listen to this. This is Congresswoman Beatty or Beatty. I'm not really sure which one it is. She flat out is treating him like a child.
Of appropriated funds, Treasury will be.
Is this going to be a yes or no?
Program award.
Mr. Secretary.
No.
I'm going to abide by the chairman's rules, but I have some rules. You can say yes or no, and then if you say yes, you may continue to give that support. If it's a no, then you tell me why not. And now we need to be clear. Yes, let's start with the yes or no. I'm trying to be respectful, but you're not going to do what you want to do on my time. Yes or no, or you can say I'm not going to answer it. Now move on.
Number 3.
Okay, so let's.
Number 3. Scott Bessent is the best. I mean, really, and Scott Bessent is he's an incredible representative for President Donald Trump's cabinet administration and for the United States of America. This woman's acting like, no, here's what we're going to do. I'm trying to be respectful by acting real disrespectful to you. Here's what we're going to do. She's from Ohio, by the way. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to act respectful to you by patronizing you and treating you like a little child. So you could say yes. That's the first thing. First option is yes. Second option is no. Or you could just say, I refuse to answer. And Scott Bessent goes, number 3. That's the one. The third one. That's the one. She wasn't done, though. She thought she'd won.
Records show that he refuses to answer a question. No, we're not going to do that with me. We are not going to do that with me.
Ask it. It's the gentlewoman's time from Ohio.
Now, you opted for number 3, so you get to hear my wrath that you refuse to answer a question under your authority and what this administration, and yet you've talked about the value of housing and you're not releasing the funds. And I want the record to be clear on that. So let me move on. Mr. Secretary.
Was that her? That was her wrath? She released her wrath? That was it?
Asked you as your predecessors, Democrats or Republican, Jack.
Yeah. Anyway, that wasn't even the worst one. The worst one was Greg Meeks. Greg Meeks just lost his stuff and he would not shut up. Greg Meeks lost control. He just totally lost control. He's from New York, and it showed because he was First of all, he was grilling Scott Bessent. He asked like the longest. I was going to play the question, but it was 5 minutes long. The question was all about Trump coins and Melania coins and Bitcoins and Eric Trump and this, that, or the other. He finally gets around to like asking a question. And then when Scott Besson tries to answer it, he loses his mind.
On behalf of
I take that as a no.
On behalf of your donor,
you do not want to answer that question. I take that as a no.
For a $7 billion.
I'm asking you to do your responsibility as Secretary of the Treasury.
Into a Venezuelan.
You do not.
Mr. Makes,
will you?
time has expired.
You cannot erase what you did in 2006.
He's the one that went past your time, Mr. Chairman.
No,
he did not answer my question, and he wouldn't pass the time.
He had 6 seconds left to try to answer your question, and it
was a yes or no. It was a yes or no answer. I asked him, will he? No, was
gentleman,
yes or no?
The OCC is an independent.
Stop covering for the president. Stop being his flunky.
Gentlemen,
he's talking to me. I'm responding back to him.
2006 trip to Venezuela.
Stop covering for the president. Don't be a flunky. Work for the American people.
Yeah, he said flunky, by the way. I had to listen to it a couple times because I thought he said something else. He said flunky. In fact, I think I have another angle. I had another angle of it somewhere where you could really tell that he said flunky. But that was Greg Meeks. That was Greg Meeks from Harlem, from New York. Here he is. Let me see if I can find that other angle because you can really see.
He had 6 seconds left to try to answer the question.
Here it is.
And
I think
this
is it.
Stop.
No, that's not it. There's another camera angle where you could just watch him just go crazy. Here it is. I think this may be it. Let me watch.
Investigation and scrutiny of this.
No, Congressman.
All you have to ask
the OCC is an independent.
No, that's the beginning. Where's the actual part where he goes? Because it's fun to watch his face when he goes ballistic. I think it's here.
Commit today.
Here it is. Here's the.
I just want to know whether you will commit today to pause, and heighten, and the scrutiny of any bank charter or licensing application at the OCC connected to the World Liberty Financial until all of these conflicts of interest and foreign influence reviews are completed and shared with the United States Congress. All I need to know is, will you halt it and do a complete investigation and scrutiny of this licensing application? All you have to ask is yes or no.
No, Congressman.
All you have to ask
the
is yes or no.
OCC is an independent entity, and I would know, Congressman.
I take that as a no.
You traveled to Venezuela.
I take that as a no.
On behalf of
I take that as a no.
On behalf of your
you do not want to answer that question. I take that as a no.
For a $7 billion.
I'm asking you to do your responsibility as Secretary of the Treasury. You do not.
Mr. Makes,
will you?
Time has expired.
You cannot erase what you did in 2006.
He's the one that went past your time, Mr. Chairman.
No,
he did not answer my question, and he wouldn't pass the time.
He had 6 seconds left to try to answer your question, and it
was a yes or no. It was a yes or no answer. I asked him, will he? No, was
gentlemen,
yes or no?
The OCC is an independent.
Stop covering for the president. Stop being his flunky.
There it is. And here's one more time.
Gentlemen.
He's talking to me. I'm responding back to him.
2006 trip to Venezuela.
Stop covering for the president. Don't be a flunky. Work for the American people.
Yeah, don't be a flunky is what he said. Don't be a flunky.
Trip to Venezuela.
Work for the American people. Don't be a cover-up for a mob.
Maybe you're going to
as
see
long
your
as he
friend
talks
Nicholas
your
Maduro.
Gentleman is not recognized. Mr. Besant, please. I recognize the gentleman from Texas.
That is, by the way, French Hill, who is one of the most pointless chairmen. I mean, I guess there comes a point where he's just banging the gavel. He's from, where's he from? I don't know. Louisiana, maybe. I don't know where he's Arkansas. I think Arkansas. Anyway, that's French Hill. he's from Arkansas. I was thinking of Steve Scalise. And he is just like beside, oh, guys. Gentlemen, please, can you, Mr. Besson, we need to please be quiet. Dude, Mr. Meeks, just bang, bang. If I were, now I'm not saying this would ever happen. Fun fact, when I become a congressman, it's going to be a tough ride for me to get on a committee because I'm not going to play by their rules. Then when I do get on a committee, I can tell you right now, I am not going to do what needs to be done to become a chairperson of that committee. First of all, I'm not going to be in Congress for the rest of my life, which is what you need to do. You need to be in there for at least 4 or 5 terms before they even think about putting you on a committee as a chairman. And then when you do become a chairman, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I would just throw these people out. I would throw them out. I'd be like, Mr. Meeks, you got to get out. I would call the sergeant at arms. I would throw him out. I'd be like, you have 2 choices. Shut up, or we will forcibly remove you from Congress. It's really, to me, it's really that simple. But, you know, again, that's how I roll. Not everybody rolls that way. The Clintons we talked about yesterday are looking now they've cut a deal and they're going to come in and they're going to testify. And Whoopi Goldberg, get this, Whoopi Goldberg, who's all about law and order and transparency, and Whoopi Goldberg, these people, they're all about the Epstein files. This is remarkable to me because every single woman on The View, every single liberal on television, everybody who is in the Democrat Party who's not actually in the Epstein files, and that's a very short list, has been screaming and yelling about Donald Trump not releasing the Epstein files, transparency for the Epstein files. We need to know everything about the Epstein files. We've got the victims. Caitlin Collins was just yelling at President Donald Trump in the Oval Office. I'm talking about the victims. Think about the victims. We need justice for the victims. I've heard Whoopi Goldberg say that herself. Well, now that the Clintons have been subpoenaed to testify in the case of what they knew about Jeffrey Epstein and the crimes and the victims, they don't want to testify. But they're gonna, because they also don't want to go to jail. So now Whoopi Goldberg is like, wait a minute. They shouldn't have to testify.
As I understand it, he's been given, who's been given such a wide breadth. Does this mean that President Clinton technically doesn't have to testify? If he didn't have to testify.
No, he has to, right? They've agreed to, certainly. And I think, the Clintons are playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. The Clintons are... First of all, she's still calling President Donald Trump you-know-who. She won't refer to him as Donald. She's called President you-know-who or whatever. And she's claiming now that Donald Trump never testified. Donald Trump had this wide breadth. Donald Trump was claiming immunity, blah, blah, bliggity, blah. Didn't work. Donald Trump got mug-shotted and fingerprinted and hauled into court repeatedly over and over again in various different jurisdictions. So I don't know what the heck she's talking about. Second of all, she says Bill Clinton doesn't have to testify. No, he doesn't. He could go to jail. She's right. A legal scholar, Whoopi Goldberg, Karen, what's her name? Johnson, which are 2 very appropriate names. By the way, it's the most appropriately named person, right? Isn't that her? Isn't it Karen Johnson? Isn't that her name? Whoopi Goldberg is, Karen Johnson. If there was ever anyone in the world who's a Karen, and if there's anyone in the world who could be described as a Johnson, it's Whoopi Goldberg. So Karen Johnson is like, wait a minute. As I understand it, with my limited, in fact, non-existent understanding of the legal system, Bill Clinton doesn't have to testify at all, does he? No, and neither does Hillary Clinton, and neither does Hunter Biden, and neither does Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., and neither does anybody. But if you are summoned to testify by the House of Representatives and you don't, you go to jail. So those are your choices. Yes, you can testify, or no, you can say, I'm not going to testify, and you can get arrested. Testify, arrestify. Testify, arrestify. Which one would you rather? And then Sonny Hodgson, I don't even know, Sonny says the Clintons. Wait a minute, hold on. I may have to play that again. She said the Clintons, what are the Clintons doing? Hang on.
And they've agreed to, certainly. And I think, the Clintons are playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
Okay. If Bill Clinton is playing anything, it's grab ass or strip poker or spin the bottle or 7 minutes in heaven or show me your Hooters. That's what he's playing. Bill Clinton is not playing Chinese checkers. Hillary Clinton's playing Chinese checkers. And by that, it means I'm getting all the money from China and I'm going to do it in ways that are probably illegal. Just like Joe Biden. So Hillary Clinton's playing Chinese checkers and she was winning for a really long time until, she lost. And Bill Clinton's playing show me your Hooters. He's playing hide the salami. That's the only thing. That's the only thing Bill Clinton. You want to play hide the salami? Well, Hillary's upstairs playing Chinese checkers. Hey, babe, let's play hide the salami. I'll go first. Count to 10. Count to 69. How do these people do it with a straight? I don't understand.
And there's just because they've already actually submitted sworn affidavits to this House committee. I've read them. They are in depth and astute. But I will say this. I think you're right, Joy. I think the fact that a former president is testifying in front of the House committee pursuant to a subpoena sets a high precedent, sets a bar for any president to be called before this committee.
Yeah. So here's their trade-off. Okay. This is what, notice she said a president, not two presidents, because Hillary was never president, thank God. But here's the trade-off. So now, Sunny Hotson, who may actually be the most sensible of all of them, which is not saying much. Sunny Hotson, who may be the most sensible of all of them, she is sitting there thinking, look, I don't think Bill Clinton should have to go testify. I don't want Bill Clinton having to go testify. This guy should not have to go testify. He should be free and clear of any testifying. But if he does go and testify, then that sets the table for any future president to go testify in front of this committee. There will be precedent for presidents testifying. That's why she says he's playing chess. That's why he says Bill Clinton is playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. He's sacrificing himself so that in 4 years, when they want to haul President Donald Trump in front of a committee, precedent will have been set by Bill Clinton. Trust me, that is not why Bill Clinton is going to testify. Bill Clinton is not setting the table for Donald Trump's future testimony. Because Donald Trump ain't going to go testify. Bill Clinton is keeping himself out of the pokey. Bill Clinton is keeping himself out of jail. Because if what he's alleged to have been doing on Epstein's Island is true, well, we know how people like that are handled in prison. And that's one place Bill Clinton does not want to go. That's a fate worse than, well, being married to Hillary. That's how bad that is. That's how bad Bill Clinton doesn't want to go to jail. He's like, I'd rather stay married to Hillary for a few more years than go back to jail, because he knows that is not going to be time well spent, and that it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad for his backside. Listen, there's a lot of upside, speaking of which, to investing in a gold IRA. And yesterday I mentioned the free gold guide from Augusta Precious Metals. When you go to markswealthstrategy.com, that's the website address. Or if you want to just text it, you can text the word wealth to 35052. We had about a dozen people right after the show go and download their free gold guide. And I heard from one of them. I have all that. They give me all the information. They write to me. They go, Mark, this is great. 12 people got the free gold guide. And one of them reached out to me and said, you know what? I read through it and it's fascinating. And I had no idea how much more security and stability I would get from a gold IRA and a precious metals IRA than just a traditional IRA, the one that's based on the stock market or one that's based on, any other kind of tangible good. The gold precious metals IRAs that Augusta Precious Metals offers. I mean, if you look at gold right now, it's doubled in a year. It's over 5,000. Think about if that were your investment. Think about if you bought a gold IRA from Augusta Precious Metals. If you went to markswealthstrategy.com a year ago and invested, let's say you invested $50,000 in an IRA, which is, by the way, their minimum investment. So let's say you took $50,000 out of your current savings and you put it in a gold IRA, and gold doubled in a year. You know what that means? You would no longer have $50,000 in your IRA. You would have $100,000. And if it doubles again, which it very well could, you're going to have $200,000. That's how that works. It compounds. Whatever it doubles to, it doubles again, it doubles again. Gold is that's why Donald Trump is putting gold all over the White House. That's why he's putting it in the Oval Office. That's why everything that Donald Trump owns is gold, because the value is there and it's increasing day by day. Go to markswealthstrategy.com, markswealthstrategy.com, or text wealth to 35052. The gold guide is free. You just get the gold guide. You can read through it. Then you can text me and go, Mark, that was fascinating. You can email me and go, Mark, I learned a lot about gold. And then we can carry on. If you want, you can then carry on the conversation. I'll put you in touch with somebody over there. They're very lovely people. markswealthstrategy.com. Do yourself a favor. Do your financial future a favor. Do your family a favor. Put your money where you know that it's going to be safe long-term and not in something volatile like the stock market or Bitcoin or anything else out there. Listen, also a great investment is spending time with us every single day, making sure you're consuming all of our content so that you're well informed, so that you are fired up, so that you know where the threats lie, who's coming after you, who's attacking you, who's flat out propagandizing you. You want to be able to cut through the BS? Guess what? I got the knife that can do it. And I'll help you every single day. We'll make sure if you listen to Mark K. Saves the Republic every day, if you subscribe right now on YouTube or on Rumble or Facebook, wherever you happen to be, if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're subscribed and following and getting this content delivered every single day. Day. It's only an hour or so, sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little less. It's an hour that could save you. It's an hour that could save your future and your family and your neighbors and everything you love. Because if you listen for an hour every single day, you're going to have what it takes to be able to stand up and fight so you can save the Republic.